So I feel like doing some more reading. So I done on live on YouTube. There's always a problem if I go past an hour and I forget. Now I have to figure out what happened to the other 2 hours of good readings. So, what's going on YouTube? What happened to my full 3 hours? Why isn't it there? It's in my cache somewhere, I know, on the computer. I just have to find it. I haven't had the time yet. Including the other one I did the other day, which was 2 hours and 50 minutes. It was only an hour and 25 minutes. So, anyways, what did I have up here? Oh, I'll read a few more of these. What I decided to do. A few that I hadn't read, and some I want to read again. And the original form of this one, the wording was different when I first had it mnemonically, and it never came down right when I wrote it out right, or I had it written down differently. Maybe on the hand, maybe on the original version, the wording is different. I changed on this one. I'm not sure. This is in white. This original type version was on blue. On the same typewriter, I think. Well, it was a different ribbon. It was said of Tantalus that he was not fixed to his chair before the feast by his immobility or by any enchantment, but that free surfeit of pride had generated him a temperament so bound up by a paralysis of will that it could not allow him to partake of the feast without disquiet. Therefore he remained in his chair out of choice, weary of the sensual satisfactions of the banquet and shy of their enrapture, their comfort might offer to his cherished rectitude. The moral disorder his abstention on that occasion is said to have provoked has been nothing in comparison to the complete ineffectiveness of passivity in desires and in designs and means to bring one's dreams into reality, and in designs that might bring dreams into reality. To be thus reserved from indulging in the feast of possibilities and opportunity laid out on the table before him, creating a paucity of real action even in everyday affairs, is known to us today as being tantalized. The legacy of that arcane feast, a word denoting desire, resistance, seductive intangibility, and the form of rapture of the will that was Tantalus' greatest fear. For subliminal to all of this was the matter of Tantalus' greed, based in his exaltation of his own denials of want, and his unwillingness to surrender his life to plenty and prosperity and comfort in a time when such things were made bountiful. What the gods had laid before him was an impassable moral choice, and over the dilemma of the decision, Tantalus will sit poised, unable to taste sour or bitter, salt or sweet, fruit or meat of human existence and enrichment for as long as the feast is offered. This caused great consternation among the gods, for they had meant to punish him, but he would not partake. It was not a question of him being forbidden to, for the feast was poison had he eaten it. That last bit, I just improvised that. And this is the original blue form of it, all beaten up, as you can see. It's been not dog chewed, but stomped on, I think, probably was the problem there. C here is a certain friend of mine, Chris, at SFU. To see in a time of need. The words escape me, even as they are thought. Just as one being always slips from another, so dizzyingly fast at the precipice of the stately opening into the vault of Neverwhere. The crackling thunder in mind is the sound of the shattering walls of the temples of the heart, and the resounding boom in time is the felling of the great gates in the walls of the city of the soul, and the rubble of the nameless stones that tremble into the abyss at the edge of self. All bridges must build from these ruins and the waste. The welling sob is telled in face and mutation, like the passing of an old shroud laced with intention. In me these castles rise of fair, once never loved, once never dared. With the passing tide, the life is drained, form a pool ringed in rocks and stopped above the waves as the sun beats down on the exposed flesh of Mother Rock and life gives forth, or the rock is alive only unto not itself alone, but the ceaseless plummetings of the sea, old fools' arms, and young fools' charms. To see in a time of need, and so have the words escaped, if ever there were, a reflex to rout the marshalling pain, nameless as the rubble broken, nameless as the domes cracked asunder, and the blood in the crevices, the rift of change hurls on by, fiend warp of mind, and a greater pain surges from the ancient vaults, the pain of the denial, not the loss, not the denial of loss, but the denial of the pain. Again, to see in a time of need, so familiar of form, again to see it arise, from naught to flee, and flash its spirit eyes, even as my own. The horn rings cold, and must be turned from, into the cold alone. So yet the shells of seals upon the mark of the ill-starred, even as my own. That C, initial C, it actually makes it, I think that was an intentional pun actually with what I was doing with the initial. This is just a comment that I made, but I might as well read it. This is mystical writing as much as it is anything else. It is written with an eye to mythical, philosophical, and scientific problems, and also to current states of psychological awareness and literary gobbledygook. But be wary, any of you who think that this could be approached as a matter of style, or intellectual fashion, or vanity. So beware, Wikipedia. And is that a threat? No, it's a statement of fact. You don't know who you messed with. But you know, they don't know anything, those people. They don't know any of the stuff that I know. And it's a problem as you deal with people that are ignorant. That belongs with the science fiction stories. These I should read, actually. They're quite good. I'll read the science fiction stories as a whole reading some afternoon. Something like that. And some of the landscape stuff still. I'll do the landscape stuff now. Wanderer, that's a science fiction-y thing, so I'll take that away. Oh yeah, sure, why not? Why not? So let me think now. You're the horse. So I think you're the dragon. 11 years later. I don't know who 1972 was. This must be 1981. No. Well, no. 79. Maybe I just named it Year of the Dragon, so I didn't know the Chinese years yet. And this is written down somewhere in a little book I have. But I typed it up long ago. I was wondering where this thing at the bottom was. I'll find it. The actual, so the book is here somewhere. Where are the lovers of time? And why do they not speak unto us in our hour of need? So that the four temperaments are not unleashed upon the gardens lush and green of our creativities. Why are the lovers of time not here? What secrets do they hold from us by forestalling their coming? Who are the lovers of time, who reveal to our souls the glories of that which they hide and mask? When will they come and relieve us, who wait of the long hours of unabided knowledge that is the heirloom and destiny, our past and present, as one? What is the purpose of the lovers of time in prolonging this tormentuous age beyond all cosmic limits of, shall we use a mundane term, decency? We have no choice but to abide again and be complacent and live ourselves as spectacularly as we dare, with a great love and passion for all the bodies and souls of our people. Let the galaxies sing. We have no time for song, but only for life. Let the galaxies sing. And the next is about the Lillooet ice cap, which is also known as the Lillooet crown. because it's about 6 rivers come out of it, 7 or so, that come out of it in a radial pattern. It's in the Lower Coast Mountains north of Whistler, about 80 miles, 90 miles it begins. I will embrace the holy Lillooet Crown Mountains, as the many arms of the rivers that are the children embrace their slopes and valleys. I will cleave myself among the mountains of the holy Lillooet Crown, as do the valleys that are the cradles of the holy rivers that flow as one unto the sea, even as I. It looks like that, between the asterisks there. I'll read the other one now, last one now. I shall take thee, little hill, into my 2 hands, and shape thee. Without wheel or hammer, nor even lever, I will shape thee, and change thee, and love thee as a lover. And thou wilt shape and change me. No outward sign on thee shall exist by all chance, yet I may change and form profoundly. So be it, little hill. Through thee I buy myself back from the world. So be it. I shall take thee, little hill, into mine own 2 hands, and caress thee, and move thee, and shape thee even as a god. I will shape thee, and change thee, and love thee as a lover, and my soul shall be a thing, as thing. Without wheel or hammer, or even lever, I will rule thy ways, and thou shalt rule mine. No outward sign on thee shall exist by all chances when I am done, yet I may change and form profoundly beyond all recognition in human eyes. I give unto thee my will, my little hill. I give unto thee my will, my little hill. I give unto thee my will, little hill. I shall begin, and there shall be a light around us. So be it, little hill. Through thee I buy myself back from the world. So be it. Ecce homo gratio. Behold the grateful man, I think that means. I meant it to mean. Will you have my soul and will, O rock? Of ye my lover is built and formed, you're a substance like unto which I would be. I crumble ye with my arms and wrestle your heart, though it maybe shall burst mine own. Have you a thought, O rock, or are you a bare, oblivious being? I would be as ye, and my lover. Let nothing and none prevent this. I have spoken. My trust cannot be mine. It is yours. Parlando parlare. Parlare egat. I spoke. I think it means parlando is what I meant to say. Parlare egat. I don't know. I'm trying to think past tense, ego or something. Behold, the Lord of nothing, of a hill in the wilderness. Mad is he who cracks and rends the earth and stone with his hands. His torso is like unto the rock that now possesses his mind and soul, and his arms and legs like the trees that swarm like crowds around his lover. He one day shall leave this obsession and love, and as a god shall descend from the mountains. Ecce virum beatat, qui tempus favori. Behold the blessed man who time favors. I would be the emperor of the world, if only it were not as it is. I surprise myself sometimes. This is me, I know exactly when this was. This is June of 1976. I could talk about the setting of why I know exactly why that is, but I'll talk another time. I'll explain it. So what the genesis of these particular verses are. I'd returned from Europe. I was having a difficulty with something that had happened with somebody else who'd come back after me. Let's just say it would have been better if I'd stayed here, but I didn't. Whither goest thou, who goes from beauty? What hast thou that must hide from the world? For grace go only those that have a greater grace, without blemish, but with stain. Why dost thou go from beauty? Why dost thou from the world hide thy secret? Canst thou tell? Or is it too magnificent so as to hide from us, who notice only thy going? Where goest thou with thy secret? Where canst thou go? Thou wilt only depart from as well, for thou... ... Arid, parched lands are lying in wait just beyond the edge of the rain and the candlelight on the green carpet. A few more hours to wait, and it will be gone. It will have come, leaping across the mountains like a drunken sheik. Immense patience now. Do not feed life with the refuse and fuel of the one before. You just get the same smoke. Somewhere, minds, time, and space are linked. Mystifying it is no help. It is as natural as breathing. Worry is only waiting in disguise. Off on the twilight wind now, and put out the candles. Once again, I wait in the candlelight, now in the land where the dusty rain falls. I have trod many miles to find myself lost. I'm among the mountains that you are in, and are in you. I missed you by moments. I've waited so long. Wow, I remember writing that part now. Yeah, where that green carpet is, I'm pondering now. Is that the same place I wrote that last bit in? Because I know where I wrote that. At the Lee Creek Ranch House. Wow, that's about a very important sort of month in my life. It's something I will tell about. Sometime a biographer will want to talk to me about this. I don't want to talk to a psychologist about any of it. Why? What can a psychologist tell a philosophical poet? The philosophical poet can't tell the psychologist what he is, like a psychiatrist, what the whole tradition of psychiatry is. Really, and I'm not a Scientologist. I'm speaking as a classicist and, romantic poet and classical, historian and knowledge person, to be told, and all you've studied is medicine. You want to medicate somebody to stop them talking about things that you don't understand because it upsets you what you think sanity is, and what fields have you studied, what philosophies, what poetry, what morals shit have you read other than maybe you read some Adam Smith? King James Bible, whatever. And you studied medicine. Great. Yeah, so that's important poetry for me to have found, actually. And the Tantalus thing also was very good to have found. All right, two things that I hadn't read before, and one of these is song lyrics. What's that? No, I got to find the other pages for that. That needs other pages found. This is just by itself, and I'm missing some words, but I think I can improvise them. It is frightening, as a child of the wilderness, to realize that most of the world, that which I originate, and which I have lived, as well as my own life, which is of it. I'm missing part of the page. Is become in time and country of legend, an ancient time when the cities had not yet risen, wars not raged, gods and kings not risen and fallen. I oppose those sorts of things I might view as the events in a distant otherworld, which is literally what Europe is from here, and indeed what I felt it to be in my own encounter with it, as being in a distant otherworld from it myself. In my own life, I have seen paradise fade, and I have seen Eden ruin beneath the blind sin of man, the fruit of knowledge of good and evil, and there is much evil in this world, in all of it, and what good there is in disarray. I suppose never before has it been thus. I'm sorry, I'm looking at this other, I was recording on there earlier. I'm sorry, I realized the law was leading the thing. I mean, you guys are going, what's he doing? I got to integrate this with the things I'm reading here. And there's much evil in this world, and all of it. And what good there is in disarray is in disarray. I suppose ever has it been thus, not so much on the scale of global survival as now, but on the level of the survival of what is left, the survival of an understanding as to its integrity and its sanctity. The final days of natural creation are upon us, and whether desecration of the blessed realm or the natural fate of wilderness, quote unquote, of wilderness to man's destiny, quote unquote, only a word, it has come a time for great sadness, for much lamenting in the highland dales and the great forests that are the remnant of earth, capital E. A mere 10 millennia, indeed, have engendered the ruin of the masterwork of 100,000 years and more. And to man's shame that he ruins the last of his fair home, the world that nurtured him and gave him life and awe and great beauty and terror. When it is done, he will scour the sky for yet another place to leave the mark of his abysmal cosmic illiteracy and plundering clumsiness and gluttony. And I see this work, this foul war upon the defenseless earth, undertaken in the names of God, of good, of progress, and prosperity. They will rue the vanity of their greed. It is a blasphemy. Its prophets, heretics, and simoniacs of all stripes and creeds. When we have destroyed the earth as a species, a new Tartarus will open especial for us. For we have not the wisdom of such divine governance to oversee the affairs of this planet properly, and there is no God would want to save us now. We have built our own judgment, and the Tartarus that shall follow it. To know what civilized people already think my work, my home, is the stuff of the distant past or of romantic dreams, and yet their entire lifestyle exists as a product of the exploitation of this world? In public, I hold my tongue perforce. I suppose it gives them something to be sentimental about, but isn't that itself indulgent and absurd in its contribution to the destruction which engenders the sentimentality? That which the sentimental leans to does exist, but nothing is done to run or stop it. And I'll add that it's been marketed for mass consumption. Sentimentality, mementos, and films, and things made out of things that don't need to be destroyed in order to entertain people. Nothing is done to run or stop it. Do you know what I have said here speaks of something none of those who have never experienced the wilderness in depth know what I mean. Not even shall townspeople who often live amidst it by exploiting it. Such views or mine are condemned for being negative or primitive or idealistic or elitist. Oh, the ugliness of democracy that allows such ignorance, stupidity, come equality. For those of you who do not know of it, that I would care you know of it, that think of Eden and fairyland and the dream worlds of distant stars as bountiful, wild, and mastery of the land over all. It still does exist, still. It can still exist if you stop, I didn't say it, but stop cutting the trees, doing things to the rivers, stop torturing the land. Yeah, the justice of the Lord is mighty, but no, that's just the justice we brought down on ourselves. Karma means action. We're in a closed system, so everything you've done in the karma system, so the people that made all the money have done things that everybody else has to pay for. That's the action. But technically, it's those guys should be in jail for all of it, especially for, I don't know. I know they slash liberal arts funding to keep people from developing democracy in British Columbia, deliberately to keep everybody locked into the debt and real estate, buying real estate and working for mills and bureaucracies and investment businesses. And they built the commercial economy all based around, it was all contrived, all of it. People who don't think it was did not see it go through. What happened to liberal arts at the time, there were people like me who were seeing more than they wanted people to understand about. No, cut it, burn it, pave it, ship it off. As for those people, just classify them and get them junked out, same as you did with the black people in the States. That's why the Coke thing came in the States, was a way to weaken the black resistance to, I don't know, it's a terrible thing in the States. And it is here too. The native thing is a hidden dark secret in North America, really evil, really, really evil. Every bit as evil, not as violently as the blacks, but at a personal level, very evil for First Nations here. Well, my family wasn't involved that I know of, other than my grandfather having, distributed land that was taken from them without him having known anything about it. I'm sure he only got the job in 1904 or 05, somewhere in there, 06. Anyways, okay, so Burrard Inlet, May 26th. It's just 2 pages, I think, and then I'll stop. Let me make sure it's only 2 pages. Yep. Okay, now I better eat something. I still only had some pancakes. That's been it. Burrard Inlet, May 26, 1991. At a place called New Brighton, surveying the waterline on the foreshore of the mountains, the toe hills of the Great Ranges that run steep along the northwest coast to the northern bays, where the mountain ice, which cloaks their summits of lost, at last reaches the Arctic and Alaska bays. 1,500 miles the next flat country. Mainland shore, strata mainland shore, seeking into the place that has not been, and been undone, what is now of it, and shall be the times to come. It was named by the prosaic romanticism of the early days of the colony as New Brighton, to the new mainland capital's New Westminster, a seaside retreat from the political metropolis that was to have been the great city of the Pacific colonies, upstaged by the inlet port around which this little park stands. Vancouver, that is. Sandwiched tightly in by port and the great granaries and railhead docklands, New Brighton is a lost remnant of the city's old wild beauty, cut off from the surrounding communities by exhibition ground parking lots, the freeway, and a hidden tunnel entrance. Brighton Park is a town, as it has been since its naming. A lawn, and the genteel grounds of the British frontier. Watering hole, warehouse, were hacked out of the wilderness and made Scotland rather, as the owner was George Black, Gastown's famous butcherman, and so most loyal Scot, who opened the first hostelry here. George Black also did like Highland Games. He did them out at Brockton Oval, which was like, the sporting grounds for Gastown, because there's no room in Gastown to do anything like that. So Gastown was not just Gastown in those days. Granville included like the community and the playing fields at Brockton Point and elsewhere, Hastings, it was also called in honor of the current Earl and in memory of the shore of Norman glory. What Scot did not favor the French? though here England's glory and power was thought shielded from the American horde. This was no channel, English Channel I meant, capital C, but a sheltered saltwater withe cutting into the mountains by a set of riverine hills, and densely wooded wetlands, flat and without swell, with a torrent still vanished in marshy mouth. The inlet runs deep, 15 miles inland, with an arm run into a deep fjord, branching off another 15 north, Indian Arm. Burrard Inlet is the first of the great inlets of the Northwest Fjordland. Puget Sound and the Gulf of Georgia are more Danish in quality than truly Norse in character, like Norwegian. But situated adjacent to the lowlands of the Fraser Delta that makes up the lower mainland and Whatcom County. The absurd line that bisects the Pacific Northwest, drawn by hurried diplomats in distant London and Washington, saved for Britain the bit of settleable lands in the Northwest, a river mouth that defied Britain's needs in the area, without complete understanding of the value of the Puget Sound and the Willamette lowlands and its productive rangelands of the Mid-Columbia lowland. To please Victoria's they gave Puyallup, the Dalles, Nisqually, and Old Fort Vancouver were abandoned to serve the base facilities. It had to do with a lot of geopolitics I could get into. Yeah, so this is pretty good. I do a lot of political writing like that. Let me just grab one last bit of poetry. Why don't I do some service to finish off, since he's sitting right here? I open my book of dreams, as one of my poems begin. This is the Canadian Homer, this guy. This is the Canadian Homer. Prelude. I sing no more, oh sorry, prelude. I sing no idle songs with dalliance days. No dreams Elysian inspire my rhyming. I have no Celia to enchant my lays. No pipes of Pan have set my heart to chiming. I am no wordsmith, dripping gems divine into the golden chalice of a sonnet. If love songs witch you, close this book of mine. Waste no time on it. Yet bring I to my work an eager joy, a lusty love of life and all things human. Still in me leaps the wonder of the boy, a pride in man, a deathless faith in woman. Still red blood calls, still rings the valiant fray. Adventure beacons through the summer gloaming. Oh, long and long and long will be the day ere I come homing. This earth is ours to love, lute, brush, and pen. They are but tongues to tell of life sincerely. The thaumaturgic day, the might of man, O God of scribes, grant to us to grave them clearly. Grant heart that homes in heart, then all is well. Honey is honey sweet, howe'er the hive, each to his work, his wage at evening bell, the strength of striving. I might as well read what comes next because it's so great. It's absolutely, I know what it is. I'm going to have to read it. So great. Because you remembered all the songs of a sourdough, you know, Creation of Sam McGee and all that stuff. But the prelude is for, this is, what's this collection? Rhymes of a Rolling Stone. Well, guess what the next one's called? Oh yeah, you guessed it. Yep. Where do you think they got the name from anyway? The famous magazine by Dr. Hook's on. A Rolling Stone. There's sunshine in the heart of me. My blood sings in the breeze. The mountains are a part of me. I'm fellow to the trees. My golden youth I'm squandering. Son, libertine am I, a wandering, until the day I die. I was once, I declare, a Stone Age man, and I roomed in the cool of a cave. I've known, I will swear, in a new lifespan, the fret and the sweat of a slave. For far from over all the folks hold worth, there lives and leaps in me a love of the lowly things of earth and a passion to be free. To pitch my tent with no prosy plan, to range and to change at will, to mock at the mastership of man, to seek adventure's thrill, careful to be as a bird that sings, to go my own sweet way, to reck not all what may befall, but to live and to love each day. To make my body a temple pure, wherein I dwell serene, to care for the things that shall endure, the simple, sweet, and clean, to oust out envy and hate and rage, to breathe with no alarm, for nature shall be my anchorage, and none shall do me harm. To shun all lures that debauch the soul, the orgied rights of the rich, to eat my crust as a rover must with the roughneck down in the ditch, to trudge by his side, whate'er betide, to share his fire at night, to call him friend at the long trail end, and to read his heart aright, to scorn all strife, to view all life with the curious eyes of a child, from the plangent sea to the prairie, from the slum to the heart of the wild, from the red-rimmed star to the speck of stand, from the vast to the greatly small. For I know that the whole for good is planned, and I want to see it all. To see it all, the wide world way, from the fig leaf belt to the pole, with never a one to say me nay, and none to cramp my soul. In belly pinch I will pay the price, but God, let me be free, for once I know, in the long ago, they made a slave of me. In a flannel shirt from earth's clean dirt, here, pal, is my calloused hand. Oh, I love each day as a rover may, not seek to understand. To enjoy is good enough for me, the gypsy of God am I. Then here's a hail to each flaring dawn, and here's a cheer to the night that's gone, and may I go roaming on until the day I die. And then every star shall sing to me its song of liberty, and every morn shall bring to me its mandate to be free. In every throbbing vein of me, I feel the vast earth call. Oh, body, heart, and brain of me, praise him who made it all. Yeah, just a doggo writer, huh? The Soldier of Fortune, dedicated to my buddy, I guess. Kind of was one. No, I guess I learned Legionnaire, yeah. That's definitely what they are. The Soldier of Fortune. Deny your God, they ring me with their spears. Blood-crazed were they, and reeking from the strife. Hell hot their hate, and venom fanged their sneers. And one man spat on me and nursed a knife. And there was I, sore wounded and alone. I, the last living of my slaughtered band. Oh, sinister the sky, and cold as stone. In one red laugh of horror reeled the land, and dazed and desperate I faced their spears, and like a flame out leaped that naked knife, and like a serpent stung their bitter jeers. Deny your God, and we will give you life. Deny my God. Oh, life was very sweet, and it is hard in youth and hope to die, and there my comrades dear lay at my feet. And in that blear of blood soon must I lie, and yet I almost laughed, it seemed so odd, for long and long I had not vainly tried to reason out and body forth my God, and prayed for light, and doubted, and denied, denying the being I could not conceive, denied a life to be beyond the grave. And now they ask me, who do not believe, just to deny, to voice my doubt, to save this life of mine that sings so in the sun, the bloom of youth, yet red upon my cheek, my only life. Oh, fools, 'tis easy done, I will deny, and yet I do not speak. Deny your God, their spears are all agleam, and I can see their eyes with bloodlust shine, their snarling voices shrill into a scream, and, mad to slay, they quiver for this sign. Deny my God, yes, I could do it well, yet if I did, what of my race, my name? How they would spit on me, these dogs of hell, spurn on me, who put on me the brand of shame, a white man's honor. What of that, I say? Shall these black curs cry coward in my face? They who would perish for their gods of clay, shall I defile my country and my race? My country, what is my country to me now? Soldier of fortune, free and far I roam, all men are brothers in my heart, I vow. The wide and wondrous world is all my home, my country, reverent of the splendid dead. Her heroes proud, her martyrs pierced with pain. For me her puissant blood was vainly shed. For me her drums of battle beat in vain. For free I fare, half heedless of her fate. No faith, no flag I owe, then why not seek this last loophole of life? Why hesitate? I will deny, and yet I do not speak. Deny your God. Their spears are poised on high, intense and terrible they wait the word, and darker glooms the dreary sky. In that hush of horror no thing stirred. Then through the ringing terror and sheer hate leaped there a vision to me. Oh, how far! A face, her face. Through all my stormy fate, a joy, a strength, a glory, and a star. Beneath the pines, where lonely campfires gleam, and seas forlorn amid the deserts drear, how I had gladdened to that face of dream, and never had it seemed so dear. Oh, silken hair that veils the sunny brow, oh, eyes of grace so tender and so true, oh, lips of smiling sweetness, must I now forever and ever go from you? Ah, yes, I must, for if I do this thing, how can I look into your face again, knowing you think me more than half a king, I with my craven heart, my honor slain. No, my mind's made up, I gaze above into that sky insensate as a stone. Not for my creed, my country, but my love, will I stand up and meet my death alone. Then though it be to utter dark I sink, the God that dwells in me is not denied. Best triumphs over beast, and so I think humanity itself is glorified. And now, my butchers, I embrace my fate. Come, let my heart's blood slake your thirsty sod. Cursed be the life you offer, glut your hate. Strike, you dogs, I'll not deny my God. I saw the spears that seemed to leap to slay, all quiver earthward at the headman's nod, and in a daze of dream I heard him say, Go, set him free who serves so well his God. The Gramophone at Fond du Lac. Now Eddie Malone got a swell gramophone to draw on all the trade to his store, And says he, come along for a season of song, was the like ye had never before. Then Dogrib and Slavey and Yellowknife Brave and Cree in his dinky canoe confluated near to see and hear Eddie's gramophone make its debut. Then Ed turned the crank, and there on the bank they squatted like bumps in a log. For acres around there wasn't a sound, not even the howl of a dog. When out of the horn the sun was born, such a marvelous elegant tone, and then, like a spell on the audience fell, the voice of its first gramophone. Bad medicine, cried old Tom, the one-eyed, and made for to jump in the lake. But one gave heed to his little stampede, so he guessed he had made a mistake. Then roll in the mud, a chief of the blood, observed in choice Chippewayan, you brought us canned beef, and now it's by leaf that this here's a case of canned man. Well, though I'm not strong on the Dagoan song, that sure got me going for sure. There was Crusoe and Scotty and Mam, Shum and Hank. Melcher and Bonchi was there. There's silver and gold and sweetness untold to hear them all big guineas sing. And thick all around and inhaling the sound, them Indians formed in a ring. So solemn they sat, and they smoked and they spat, but their eyes sort of glistened and shone. Yet never a word of approving occurred till that hairy Lauder came on. Then Hunter of Moose and Squaw and Papoose just laughed till their stomachs was sore. 6 times had he set back that record, and yet they hollered and hollered for more. I'll never forget that frame-up, you bet. Them caverns of sunset agleam, them still peaks aglow, them shadows below, and the lake like a petrified dream. The teepees that stood by the edge of the wood, the evening star blinking alone, the peace and the rest, and final and best, the music of Ed's gramophone. And sudden and clear there rang in my ear a song mighty simple and old. Heart hungry and high, it thrilled to the sky about silver threads in the gold. 'Twas tender to tears that sprung back the years, and memories that hallow and yearn. 'Twas home love and joy, 'twas the thought of my boy, and right there I vowed I'd return. Big Four-Finger Jack was right at my back, and I saw with a kind of surprise he gazed at the lake with a heart full of ache, and the tears irrigated his eyes. And says he, cuss me, pard, but that there hits me hard. I've a mother that does nothing but wait. She's turned 83, and she's got only me, and I'm scared it'll soon be too late. On Fond du Lac shore, I'm hearing once more that blessed old gramophone play. The summer's all gone, and I'm still living on in the same old haphazardous way. Oh, I cut out the booze, and with muscles and thews, I corralled all the coin to go back. But it wasn't to be. He'd a mother, you see, so I slipped it to Four-Finger Jack. Oh, you gave it to him. I thought you slipped a knife in. Yeah, I gave it to Jack so he could go see his mother. But yeah, I don't know of a modern piece of modern Canadian poetry that would make me cry like that did. You know. Yeah, another bit of service. I feel like reading the famous ones, you know, but I think you hear enough of that stuff. I think it's important people hear all the rest. Oh, Sunshine. Sunshine goes on for a while. It's a series of cantos. How many? I've done the Idealist separately. No, it's it's like 20, 15, 6, 13. Yeah, 15 cantos for Sunshine. I won't do that one though. But I will do. That was the gramophone of Fond du Lac. I really love that. So this is the Land of Beyond. Have you heard of the Land of Beyond? The dreams at the gates of the day? Alluring it lies at the skirts of the skies and ever so far away. Alluring it calls, oh, the yoke galls. And ye of the trail over Fond, with saddle and pack, by paddle and track, let's go to the Land of Beyond. Have you ever stood where the silences brood, and vast the horizons begin, at the dawn of day to behold far away the gold you would strive for and win? Yet in the night, when you gain to the height, with the vast pool of heaven stars spawned, afar in a gleam, like a valley of dream, still mocks you a land of beyond. Thank God, there is always a land of beyond for us who are true to the trail, a vision to seek, a beckoning peak, a fairness that never will fail, a pride in our soul that mocks at a goal, a manhood that irks at a bond. And try how we will, unattainable still, behold it, our land of beyond. Yeah, I'm tempted to do Sunshine. It's a pretty neat one, but it's long. Yeah, I'll do this again, and I think, yeah, I'll do Athabasca Dick. Goes on for a bit, but not too bad. Drink water, go eat some food, mate. Oh, you who have daring deeds to tell, and you who have felt ambition's spell, have you heard of the louse who longed to dwell in the golden hair of a queen? He sighed all day and he sighed all night, and no one could understand it quite. For the head of a slut is a louse's delight, but he pined for the head of a queen. So he left his kinsfolk in merry play, and off by his lonesome he stole away, from the home of his youth so bright and gay and gloriously unclean. At last he came to the palace gate, and he made his way in a manner straight, for a louse may go where a man must wait, to the tiring room of the queen. The queen, she spake to her tiring maid, There's something the matter, I'm afraid. Tonight, ere for sleep my hair ye braid, just see what may be seen. And lo, when they combed that shining hair, they found him alone in his glory there. He cried, I'd die, but I do not care, for I've lived in the head of a queen. That's actually really kind of, it reminds me of the comment, I said another thing yesterday about the high ministers of the Sultan in Istanbul, Constantinople, you know, that one commented that he was appreciated that they could lose his life at any moment, but he got to live as a great pasha, a bey, a prince in the meantime. So anyways, this is more the narrative ballads he's much more known for, Athabasca Dick. When the boys come out from Lac La Biche in the lure of the early spring, they take the pay of the Hudson's Bay as their fathers did before. They are a glee for the jamboree, and they make the landing ring with a whoop and a whirl, and a grab your girl, and a rip and a skip and a roar. For the spree of spring is a sacred thing, and the boys must have their fun. Packer and tracker and half-breed Cree, from the boat to the bar they leap. And when the long flotilla goes and the last of their pay is done, the boys from the banks of Lac La Biche swing to the heavy sweep. And oh, how they sigh, and their throats are dry, and sorry they are they and sick. And there's none so cursed with a lime-kiln thirst as that Athabasca Dick. He was long and slim and lean of limb, but strong as a stripling bear. And by the right of his skill and might he guided the long brigade. All water-wise were his laughing eyes, and he steered with a careless care, and he shunned the shock of foam and rock till they came to the big cascade. Sorry, should have that page ready. Funny because I had it ready just to have a second to go open easily. No, it didn't. And here they must make the long portage, and the boys sweat in the sun, and they heft and pack, and they haul and track, and each must do his trick, but their thoughts are far in the landing bar, where the founts of nectar run, and no man thinks of such gorgeous drinks as that Athabasca Dick. Twas the close of day, and his longboat lay just over the big cascade, and there came to him one Jackpot Jim with a wild light in his eye, and he softly laughed, and he led Dick aft, yet eager, all eager, yet half afraid, and snugly stowed in his coat he showed a pilfered flask of rye. In haste he slipped, or in fear he tripped, but Dick in warning roared, and there rang a yell, and it befell that Jim was overboard. Oh, I heard a splash, and quick as a flash I knew he could not swim. I saw him whirl in the river swirl and thresh his arms about. In a queer, strained way I heard Dick say, I'm going after him. Throw off his coat, leaped down the boat, and then I gave a shout. Boys, grab him quick. You're crazy, Dick. Far better one than two. Hell, man, you know you've got no show. It's sure and certain death. And there we hung, and there we clung, with beef and brawn and thew, and sinews cracked, and joints were racked, and panting came our breath. And there we swayed, and there we prayed, till strength and hope were spent. Then Dick, he threw us off like rats, and after Jim he went. With mighty urge, amid the surge of river rage, he leapt and grept his mate, and desperate he fought to gain the shore. With teeth agleam he bucked the stream, yet swift and sure he swept to meet the mighty cataract that waded all a-roar. And there we stood like carven wood, our faces sickly white, and watched him as he beat the foam, and inch by inch he lost, and nearer, nearer drew the fall, and fiercer grew the fight, till on the very cascade crest a last farewell he tossed, and then down and down they plunged into that pit of dread, and mad we tore along the shore to claim our bitter dead. And from that hell of frenzied foam that crashed and fumed and boiled, two little bodies bubbled up, and they were heedless then. Oh, they lay like senseless clay, and bitter hard we toil, yet never, never a gleam of hope, and we were weary men, and moments mounted into hours, and black was our despair. And faint were we, when we were fain to give them up as dead, and then suddenly I thrilled with hope. Back, boys, give him air. I feel the flutter of his heart. And as the word I said, Dick gave a sigh, and gazed around and saw our breathless band, and saw the sky's blue floor above all strewn with golden fleece, and saw his comrade Jackpot Jim, and touched him with his hand, and there came into his eyes a look of perfect peace, and as there, at his very feet, the thwarted river raved, I heard him murmur low and deep, "Thank God, the whiskey's saved." Cheer! It's a mighty good world, so it is, dear lass, when even the worst is said. There's a smile and a tear, a cheer, a sigh and a cheer. Be better be living than dead. A joy and a pain, a loss and a gain. There's honey, and may be some gall. Yet still I declare, foul weather or fair, it's a mighty good world after all. For look, lass, at night when I break from the fight, my kingdom's waiting for me. There's comfort and rest in the warmth of their breasts, and little ones climbing my knee. There's firelight and song. Oh, the world may be wrong, its empires may topple and fall. My home is my care. If gladness be there, it's a mighty good world after all. Oh, heart of pure gold, I have made you a fold, it's sheltered, sun fondled and warm. Oh, little ones, rest, I have fashioned a nest, sleep on, you are safe from the storm. For there's no foe like fear, and there's no friend like cheer, and sunshine will flash at our call. So crown love as a king, and let us all sing. It's a mighty good world after all. I bet these are the popular tunes. It's a mighty good world after all, about the day, you know. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. That's a nice one to end with. But that was a nice reading of my own stuff, and I hope to recover what happened on with YouTube today. 2 hours missing so far of a really long set of readings. So thanks for listening. Whoever you're going to send that to, but I know I'm going to send it to certain people for sure. Yeah, nice to do the service at the end too. Service. Have a nice day.